So, the big dilemma of the day. How do you get your shopping home? I don't mean on a bike, I don't mean in a car. I mean, what do you put it in? We're so used to using simple little things like carrier bags as a totem for how much we care. No self-respecting individual can be seen with one. Toxic. Or so we think. So I wanted to have a little look at the environmental impact of carrier bags, and it's really confusing. It's really not clear at all. So I'm going to help using a little bit of science, a coffee weigher scale, that'll be it, and a yellow notebook, because I think everyone should have a yellow notebook, and this one in particular is a little tab for a yellow pen. So I'm already smiling before we start. So what I want to do, I want to look at a few carrier bags. I want to look at the new Morrison's paper bag, tested up to 16 kilograms. Good bag, I like it. We're going to talk that one through in a minute. I'm then going to use the ubiquitous lightweight cotton shopper. There are heavier bags than this, right? But I've gone for a lightweight, fair traded, organic cotton shopper. I'm going to compare that to our common or garden carrier bag. Just low density polyethylene, super lightweight everywhere. I may put the cat in the bag, and then who knows what will happen when I let him out again. And then I'm going to go, sorry Lupin, I'm going to go with a bag for life. This is Waitrose one, but they're all broadly the same. A bag for life, replaced every time he wears out. He's adorable, isn't he? And then against that, I'm going to compare, well, frankly, what I perceive to be the worst carrier bag ever invented. It is a degradable bag made with Matabai, which is a degradable polymer, a compostable polymer, and available at all co-ops in the UK. I'm going to look at all of those things. Now, before we go into the science of it all, I'm actually going to look at the materials. So we've got this compostable material. Now, you've seen my videos on this, right? I've got one in the compost heap that's been there now for getting on for 15 weeks. It still looks like this. It wouldn't hold much shopping, but it still looks like this. The problem with this, as we demonstrate shortly, the problem with this is it's really weak. So it stretches and then it rips. Now, most things you buy in the supermarket have a corner. They tend to be in a box or a flat pack, kind of vacuum packed thing, or a tray. So they tend to have a corner and they rip really, really easily. So it's an alternative to this one. Now this one is what we've used for years, and look, the beauty of it is it's super lightweight, it's really strong, it's everywhere, doesn't break down, right? So this one breaks down. We'll look at the carbon impact of it in a minute. This one doesn't break down, but this one can be reused 10 times. This one, well, frankly, you barely get your shopping home in it before it breaks, right? So maybe you'll get 2 uses, but it's only a maybe. This one, much thicker. This one is guaranteed for life. You'll get given a new one. Now, the interesting thing is, as we've moved away from single-use bags, the kilogrammage, the weight, the tonnage of plastic being used in these bags for life has now exceeded the weight of plastic when we just used to use these. So actually, things have got worse as we've tried to get better. That's not uncommon. And then I'm going to compare it to a cotton shopper. Lasts for a long, long time. Really interesting shift around desirability and what you want to be seen with. This one in particular is a lightweight one. There are way heavier ones. I think these are horrible to carry, but I'm not a believer in the longer strap. I like to hold them in my hand, not on my shoulder, because they're generally that full when I bring them home. And then we're going to go for paper. Paper is a great material, right? Paper comes from trees. If managed well, trees have a very low carbon impact. If managed poorly, they don't. This is PEFC certified, so it's relatively well managed. I'd say it's well managed. The problem with these is when you store them, they take up loads and loads of space relative to a cotton shopper, a plastic shopper. So they're challenging back at home. They're great bags. But let's look at the science. Let's look at the carbon impact. Well, here's one I prepared earlier. So let's have a little gander. So the paper bag. So what we've done Now, here's my grumble with this. Morrisons have undertaken or have paid the Sheffield University to undertake a detailed carbon analysis of this, life cycle analysis of this, but they're not making it available. So you've got this bizarre situation where everybody wants to use a better bag, everybody wants to move forwards, and it's become, let me just move the cap, and it's become a competitive issue. No, if this is good, release the data. Show me, don't tell me you're funny, make me laugh. When Volvo in 1954, I think, invented the 3-point seatbelt, the seatbelt that we all use, they knew it would save lives. Did they copyright it, patent it, protect it? Of course they did. Did they keep it to themselves? No, because the greater good was served by sharing it. And here's the really interesting thing about that. Volvo became shorthand for safety, even though they gave away the rights to this stuff. Morrisons could become the shorthand for sustainability. In fact, they have so much opportunity in that area that they're not even beginning to think about yet. If they gave away the rights and shared this stuff, I can't see the data. So we've had to recalculate that, right? So we know how much material is in there. There's 84 grams of paper in there from PEFC sources. I'm going to assume, I can't assume that's carbon neutral, even though there's a hint that it might be. I can't assume that because I've not seen the forest and I haven't seen their data. We assume it's recycled at the end of its life. So the carbon impact of this, 79 grams of carbon, embodied carbon within the product. And yeah, I reckon you could use that at least twice. It's a good, strong bag, as you'll see in a minute. Then let's look at our cotton shopper. Our cotton shopper has 77.1 grams of cotton in there. Cotton is a relatively energy intensive material. It's a really, really water intensive material. So the carbon impact of this bag, this one here, is 485 grams, nearly half a kilo of carbon embodied in that. Now we've assumed that this goes to landfill because textiles recycling not widely used. Even so, it wouldn't knock much off it. So that's a big impact. That's like you've got to be using that so many times in order to offset the use of the other stuff. And then we've got the single-use LDPE bag. This really thin, you know, the ones that we all used to have, right? So this has got 6.4 grams of material in it. We've assumed it goes to landfill, but actually, increasingly, LDPE doesn't go to landfill. Increasingly, we can recycle it at the supermarket. So this figure that I'm going to give you now of 16.7 grams of carbon per bag, that figure will be way less than that because it's about 90% more efficient to recycle that than to buy virgin material. So you're saving it for the next bag. So we can that's going to be probably 60% lower than that figure. And then we've got the bag for life. This one's got 28.1 grams of material in it. That we've assumed again goes to landfill, but the same argument applies. It will probably be recycled. That's got a carbon impact of 73.3 grams of carbon. So let's just look at those figures. Well, no, we'll do the compostable one first because I forgot that. So this has got about 10.7 grams of carbon in it. Now, we've assumed that this gets composted, but we know it doesn't always because some of you don't have gardens. Some of you don't have compost heaps, but we've assumed it is composted because we're nice. So that has a carbon impact of 13.5 grams. But if you can use that more than once, I'll be surprised. So all of those figures then need to be divided by the number of uses that you'll get out of it. Come on to that in a bit. So that's the carbon impact of these materials. Which one does the job best? Well, we've done a weight test. So have a quick look. So one of the things that interests me is this tested to 16 kilograms claim on this paper bag. That's amazing. Like if we can do that, that's incredible. But 16 kilograms is quite a lot of weight. We normally stop filling our bag, not because it gets too heavy, but because it gets too full. That said, there are some appalling bags out there that you're even lucky to get the shopping home in without them falling apart. So I'm going to look at the options that we're considering today and see if they'll hold 16 kilograms. I've got with me here, got about 7.5 or 8 kilograms of tinned goods. And then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and a little bit more, because it's just over a kilo each, kilograms of liquid milk alternative. And I've got our bags. So let's just see. Number one, do they fill before they get too heavy? Number two, what can they hold? So we'll start with the thin cotton shopper. Let's put the cans in first. I don't quite know how best to stack that. I'm normally quite good at this. It's like supermarket Jenga, right? So we've got 5 kilos going in there, and we're not going to get the 7.5 of those in, no way. Will I get any of the milks in? Put all your shit up. Probably get 1 in, right? So that's 6 kilos. That's full. That's now, well, do you know what I might get? If you want to perch one on the top, just to kind of like hobble out to the car or to your bike, you might get that one in. And yeah, it holds without any challenge at all. It holds that, right? So, cotton shopper, got 17 kilograms in terms of capacity, 7 kilograms in terms of capacity. And weight, it's a bit of a squeeze. So that is our benchmark, right? Okay, let's go with the Co-op degradable bag. So let's put the heavy stuff in first. 5 kilograms, probably put another one of them in. That's 7.5, a little bit more, it's about 8 kilograms. And then we'll just try and squeeze that down the side. And the challenge of this particular bag is that it rips. It's so thin. So we'll go for one more of those. So what have we got now? 7.5, 8.5, 9.5, 10.5 kilos. And that, I'll tell you now, you won't get more. Well, that's just going, isn't it? You can see that sagging now. That you ain't going to get that to the car. Absolutely no chance. That's just going to burst. You can feel it going. There you go, it's gone. So that hasn't held. That's not even got to 10.5 kilos. So that ain't going to do the job. Then we've got a bag for life, i.e. they're replaced when they run out. This is a Waitrose number. So let's go with the ones we've already had in. 2 of those, that's 5 kilos. I don't know if I'll get that one down the edge there. No, I ain't gonna get that in. 5 kilos, 6, 7, balance that on top. So we're at 11.5 kilos, 12.5 kilos. You don't want to get any more than that in there. That's holding, but I'll be honest, you wouldn't want to carry it for long, and it won't hold for long either, but it is holding, right? So 12.5 kilos in that one. So that's good. That one's all right. Then I've got the Communal Garden single-use shopper. Now these have been used, so there is already a sign of stress on this one. But let's just see how much this one holds. 2.5, 5, 7.5, 8.5, 9.5. Ooh, where to put it? 10.5, 11.5. That's in terms of weight, that's 11.5. Now that feels as stable as the heavy duty one. It's pretty good. You won't get more in there though, and you don't want to be carrying that home. It's not holding everything. But in terms of strength, pretty good. No bouncing, no ripping. So I'm impressed with that. So let's go with our paper. Water resistant. Allegedly be able to reuse many times, definitely 2. Let's just see what we can get in here. What it's got is a nice gusset, it's called. It's kind of box gusseted, so it's a flat bottom bag, which means you can get quite a lot into them. So there's our 8 kilos of tinned goods. Tessellation is a beautiful word, and this is good for tessellation. 9, 10, 11, 12 kilos, but I can get one more on the top. 13 kilos, get another one. Got 14 kilos in there. Now it's tested up to 16 kilos. You can't actually get your hand across the top, but yeah, that will hold. Just try that as we walk. Oh, I'm swinging. Yeah, that's pretty strong. That's pretty impressive actually. 16 kilos, no problems at all. So what makes this hold more? It's strong, but it's got a better shape to it. My gut instinct is all of these bags will hold 16 kilos. Not apart from the Co-op one, which is just neither use nor ornament. The others, I think they'll all hold 16 kilos. but you won't get 16 kilos in because the shape of the bag is working against you. This is the best shaped bag by miles. So top marks from that point of view. So you can see how much they hold, right? So they're strong bags. Well, the majority of them are strong bags. So how many times can they be reused? So we've had to make some assumptions here because, you know, there's lots of research on the internet that'll tell you what other people have done. But I wanted to have a look at what I was doing. So the paper one, I think we can be using that twice, probably maybe 3 times, but definitely twice. The cotton one, well, how long is a piece of string, right? That can be used for as long as it goes. So rather than guess these, what I've done is I've actually thought about this one first. I've taken this as the base. Now, you'll get 3 uses comfortably out of this. So that gives us a carbon impact per use for that of 5.5 grams of carbon. So that's become my benchmark, 5.5 grams. And then if we just go through the other figures and see how many times we'd have to use them for each bag. So let's go with the compostable bag first. I don't think it's actually fit for purpose to be used more than twice. I really don't. So that gives an impact of 6.75 grams per use. So that is already behind, but it's not bad actually. And then the bag for life, if this one's 5.5 grams per use, you've got to reuse a bag for life 9 times before it's better than using carrier bags, normal, cheap, disposable, single use carrier bags. But this is all right, it's pretty good, right? But we've got, how many of these have you got in your house? Shitloads. And then we go to the cotton shopper. Well, you've got to and this is a lightweight cotton shopper. Others are heavier and have a bigger impact. You've got to reuse this 88 times before it's better than 88 single-use carrier bags. That's quite a lot. But my guess is you would use that 88 times. My guess is you'd be kind of proud to use that. So that leaves us with the paper one. How many times do you need to use this to be better than using this one 3 times? Well, you've got to reuse this 14.3 times. We'll call it 15. Well, we'll call it 14. I'll give you the 0.3. You've got to use this 14 times before it's better than what we had before. And I don't know whether the paper will hold up, but they say it's better, right? They say they have the stats. Show us. But that's not the issue, is it? It's not about the numbers. It's about how it hangs around in the environment. And we all like paper. And we can all recycle paper or use it to light our fires or whatever lights your fire. You've got to open this stuff up, because if this is the best solution, everybody should be using it. If this is the answer, prove it. I'm really happy to go shopping with paper bags. They're lovely. I'll always use my rucksack if I'm honest, but open up, show us the data, and then we can make better choices, because right now, currently, bizarrely, this one still wins from a carbon point of view. I'm not saying we should all rush back to that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that you need to come armed with science as well as emotion and then make better decisions.